No, I'm back for real this time. I wanted to say more than just I like pipe organs, but I want to kind of develop on what I said earlier. I'm not really opposed to the idea of having an organ in church, but I do think that there should be some guidelines, and one of those guidelines should be that we should have a real organ. And I don't think I'm being unreasonable there. Um, how do I say this? I don't want to step on too many toes, and I don't want to attack anyone or insult anyone, but basically the reality is that people who don't have a history of using organs ended up buying an organ, and I personally believe that they were taken advantage of by an unscrupulous sales rep who was looking for an easy commission. And I don't think it's really unfair to characterize what happened in that way. And I didn't intend for this to become an argument about why the current electronic organ needs to be replaced with a pipe organ, but maybe I'll briefly touch on it. I did just say that I think that the church was taken advantage of, that the person who sold the current organ knew that she was dealing with people who don't know a lot about organs and was able to get away with doing sloppy work and selling an inferior thing. And that's about all I'm going to say there. I'm going to force myself to stop because, believe it or not, I'm really passionate, and it's really easy to get off the rails here. Or I don't know if that's the right thing to say. It's really easy to get distracted and just go off on a rabbit trail. And I'm trying to not do that. But now that miserable thing is very old. I think I could call it words like antiquated and not really be lying, because it's basically a custom computer from the 90s that's about 30 years old. And it has already had to be repaired at least once that I know of, and currently has some issues. So I guess I'm going to briefly state my argument that I think it needs to be replaced, preferably while it's still working, and not after it finally goes kaput. And I think it should be replaced with a pipe organ. And I would be totally cool with doing a capital campaign and raising money to buy a new pipe organ or commission the construction of a new organ. Because when you buy a new pipe organ, that is what happens almost every time, is that you hire a company to build the organ new. And it is an expensive and time-consuming process, but one, it's worth every penny, and two, it's expensive because it involves thousands of hours of skilled labor to construct an organ. And so I'm going to briefly say why I think it's totally appropriate. If we're going to have any kind of organ in church, it should be a real organ. I described in another video the divine liturgy and how it's divine, how it made me feel. I was blown away by the rich, deep theology, the reverence and the beauty. It was what my starving soul was craving, as I said in that other video. And I think that anything that is used in the liturgy should be the best thing that we can use. And I think that it's not much of a stretch to say that a pipe organ is superior to an electronic organ. There are some very good electronic organs, and if properly installed by the right people, they can be pretty good. So I'm not going to deny that, but at the same time, the best electronic organ you can buy is an imitation of a pipe organ. And what makes it good is its ability to successfully imitate that sound. So another thing is that a pipe organ, like I said before, is made by skilled artisans who put a lot of time into constructing an instrument just for you. And so it's not for us, it's for God. We're offering it to God by using it in the liturgy. And, just like the other things in the church, all the church furnishings, we add beautiful art to the church and spend money having it created by skilled artisans as a gift to God. That might be something a lot of American evangelical Protestants have a hard time dealing with or grasping, although they don't have a problem spending just as much money on their sound systems that will become obsolete in a few years. But that's how we believe, and that's what we do. And if you're Orthodox, you're not going to dispute that. If you look at the iconography at St. George, it's very beautiful. There are two different distinct styles at St. George. The main cathedral upstairs has really beautiful, kind of medieval, Byzantine-style art, and I believe that art was made in the late 90s, possibly going into the 2000s, but before I ever went there. So it's not that old, and it's very beautiful. And these hand-painted icons are mounted in an icon screen called an iconostasis that is carved by hand. It's very beautiful, and it is very intricate, and it has rich symbolism, and there's just no austerity there. It's exactly the way it should be. It's perfectly appropriate to spend money on things like that, to adorn the temple. And I think that adding an organ, if we're going to do it, it should be approached in the same way. And that is a real pipe organ made by skilled artisans. And I also think that ideally it would be a beautiful piece of furniture as well, with intricate carving, maybe also iconography, and a beautiful facade. I think we should have something like that. Like I just said, if we're going to do something, that's how it should be done. And I was going to say something else and then I forgot. So if I don't remember it, I'm going to call this a video. Oh yeah, I'm going to wrap it up real quick. I just said that getting a pipe organ is not cheap, but it's worth it. But if money's a problem, you can buy an already existing organ from the Organ Clearinghouse or other websites like it for a lot less money. And I'm aware that because of the way the choir loft is designed at St. George, it would be very challenging to fit an organ in there, but I actually found an organ that would fit in the back of the choir loft at St. George. Unfortunately, that specific organ has sold, but I'll go ahead and drop a link in the description of this video because I think it gives us a good idea of what to look for. And I think that we could find something like this for pretty inexpensively, and I think that's something that we should do. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I think I've said everything that needs to be said, and I'm going to try to get to Aldi's before they close. So thank you for patiently enduring this torture.